Drake Hollow is a base management, exploration, third-person combat, resource gathering, crafting game where you control a customized character in the third-person perspective, and the goal is ultimately to build up your base to defend it from these monsters called the Feral, while also completing objectives and exploring the map, connecting supply lines to also get more resources. This is the developer Molasses Flood, which you may know from the Flame of the Flood, and shares some gameplay elements, in particular like with the mailbox and the procedural generation of the islands where enemy spawns, that type of a thing. It's quite a bit different though with the addition of multiplayer, and since you can't die, the focus is instead building up your base and going from season to season. It's on Game Pass, currently just on consoles, and later it is coming to PC. You are a late teens, early 20-something, high school, college kid that is breaking up in a relationship on your phone. They're trying to set the tone of being this ambiguous young person that uncovers the hollow. But you're the character yourself, there isn't really anything going on story-wise. It could be anyone. So you're customizing their appearance or appearances, since it is multiplayer. And this is implied with the story, with the cutscenes. As time passes on, like your families miss you, and then they put stuff out as you go from season to season. But as the ambiguous young person character, you run into this crow, and he tells you about the hollow, takes you to this doorway, tutorial stuff too, which functions fine, that's overrun with these thorny brambles and things and monsters called ferals. You get to this tree stump crystal thingy that you activate, and this awakens the immediate drakes, the vegetable-like people. Kind of reminds you of Pikmin, except instead of them assisting you in combat, they assist in building up your base, including the buildings as well as powering different buildings, like through electricity or pumping water, that sort of thing. But you go from season to season, that's how the story progresses, and then the rest of the story is through notes that you read as you explore. Does the gameplay work, and is it engaging? Separate into two parts, I've found. The biggest and best being the base building. But this is a game that is a sum of its parts. When you think about base building, you think about, okay, I need to get these resources. Where are these resources? You check the map, see what islands they're at, or your supply lines, and then you think about what you can build as you're going out if you find unexpected resources, or you're also looking for drakes. But the base building is more complicated than you think. Even though there are just the 3 meters for the drakes to manage, you're also defending the base, and as you upgrade, they need more food, more water, more entertainment, and all these buildings eventually need power or water, and you have more advanced sources of all those things. You're connecting all the power lines, all the water lines, as well as adding food or adding berries to this pot that you have, and the base defenses, which at first you get these short fences, and then they get more advanced. Eventually, some things are, self-sufficient. That's the goal with the food as well as the defenses. Like, there are some turret-like defenses that you will get into later on, and you'll get more drakes as well. The items that you have, besides the ones that you do collect, you have this shop where you're able to build more. Everything you store in this mailbox. This is kind of borrowed from Flame of the Flood, except that one was used for some resources. This one is used for all of them that you want to store up, like with food or water. If you don't want to use it right away, like you have more than enough, where you can see with the green arrow going up, then you can store a lot of this stuff along with weapons where there's a limitation. Also trading, you're seeing right there, you can trade with a guy if you need extra money to buy different things. The drakes themselves level up too, along with getting more of them, they level up, and they have different benefits that you can use as buffs for your character. Things like the raids where you get attacked won't happen or may not happen as often. Your attack goes up, you have different types of damage, all kinds of stuff. There's quite a few different drakes that you can check out, really. Exploration, gathering, and combat. For combat, you have 3 different types of enemies. You're seeing the small little guy, and the grunt, and then the stalker, the big one. Not much difference between them. Now here's the difference from Flame in the Flood, where that one, it was survival, you die, that's it. This one, you are revived back at your camp, just with your weapon durability reduced a decent amount. So you're not penalized a whole lot for this, and you're picking up weapons all the time. So the focus is just on your base really flourishing and keeping things moving forward. The bases of them that you'll run into for the feral, they have one where they respawn immediately. Most of them, though, it's just these brambles that you take out. And then when you take all those out, then you get a bonus of more resources. All of these places, though, are dynamically generated. I played 2 different games, and they were different in terms of the type of island, the location. So that part's cool. Knowing that going into it, the exploration is always going to be there, even playing a new game, even though you'll run into occurrences that could be similar or the same, kind of like with roguelites that do this, even though this isn't a roguelite. You are going to have a mix of stuff going on. Exploration, you probably noticed the aesthetic, it's kind of this Fortnite sort of a thing, but works fine. Since you are customizing your own character, I didn't mind, and since there isn't this real individual story, it's more about the world that you are exploring. It can be confused, though, for just a cheap aesthetic kind of thrown in there, and just looking at the combat as well, too. But that's just used as more of a backdrop to the world that you're taking part in. But lots of resource gathering, as well as managing your different equipment. You can only have so many items of your melee and your ranged attack, and these have the classic, orange, purple, epic, stronger versions of each item. But the closed, there wasn't anything. It's just how you appear. But you can see like how much damage it does, DPS and all that. One part that is going to be a barrier to when you start to really enjoy this game, if you're looking for this sort of thing, is the waypoints. Before you put these down, you got to painstakingly run spot to spot, and you use this to travel as well as to connect these supply trucks. These are unique resources that you use to build up your base that you'll eventually have to network together. This part is fun because you're doing your own, you're exploring, you don't know where you're going to run into, and then at the same time you're putting these down and deciding upon a path of, okay, what am I going to do next? What resources do I need? I have a supply line here. Maybe I'll connect that one to this one. So that's something you want to be jumping into. And these type of items, this is the main one, but there's other ones too, like teleporting back to your base or ones that help you with combat. You craft these for your character at this workshop. It's called a curio. And this further helps you get into the kind of play style that you want. But here you're seeing like the supply lines that I have around there. Those circles are the hidden drakes, which I'm able to find, so I'm looking for those as well. So if it was only the combat, it would be kind of meh, but since you're doing all these things at once, and the combat does ramp up if you want to make the game harder by trying to collect everything, build everything too. No local split screen play or anything, just one player per console, and no random matchmaking where you can add just random people that can drop in and drop out. So it's only with friends where it is up to 4-player online. So for me, at least, disappointing because I always like to see random matchmaking, and hopefully they can add that in the future. At the main menu, I noticed there's a Sandbox mode that is coming soon. The past game, Flame in the Flood, they did an endless mode they added later to the game. I'm hoping they do the same thing with this one, as it would work well, incentivize you to do everything in the game and get as far as possible for as many days as possible. Just one glitch. There was a Drake to awaken, kind of towards the end of the game too, that was stuck high up in the sky, just hovering there. That was the only one that I encountered. Everything else was good. And this, I'm keeping up Flame in the Flood, but in the past one they had a lot more that more so broke the game. So a good job with this one. There haven't been any other issues though besides this. This is it. I recommend Drake Hollow through Game Pass because it doesn't take that long to beat with just the standard mode. Although you could do a lot more if you want to collect all the resources, the supply trucks in every season, take out all the bases, or build up your base to the max, then you're easily going to spend several times the amount of time if you're just looking to beat the standard story. That would be the only exceptions. But for most, they're going to just go through the story. It's not going to take that long. I would rent through Game Pass. That's probably why it is on Game Pass. It's the same whether you're playing single or multiplayer. Multiplayer is a lot more fun, but it does still hold up playing single player because you have the base management. Just the pace is a lot slower since you can only do so many things at once. So I'm hoping if they add that endless mode and where you have to do as much as possible, that would add a lot more content. Then this could be a buy. If you like this video, please give a like. If you dislike it, give it a dislike. If you really liked it, consider subscribing. Check out the links below if you are picking it up on Game Pass. And I will see you next time.